Have you ever wanted to just grab a gun and shoot a fascist in the head? Ever wanted to just watch in disgust and joy as the skull cracks into pieces? No, that's just me. Sniper Elite was one of the most hyped up games this year, probably more for a lack of other options. We were all hoping this would fill the space of the best VR game this year because honestly, the supply has been pretty dry lately. Has Sniper Elite lived up to the hype, or is it just okay? We'll stick around to the end and we'll give you a full rating of the game based on various factors to help you decide if it is worth getting. Sniper Elite just released for the Quest, PC VR, and PlayStation VR at $30 US. The version I'm playing in this video is the Rift version, which I decided to get because it supports cross-buy with the Oculus Quest version. And while I'll always choose to play the PC version of the game, I like having the Quest version available in case I want to show friends or family or just play it while I'm traveling. Initially, the game looked really good. The graphics looked great to me, the sniping felt great, and the game wastes no time jumping into the action to shoot fascists. In fact, you go through a sort of level of actually storyline fighting enemies before you even get to the shooting range with the full tutorial, and I think this way of starting a game is awesome. I got to enjoy the satisfaction of sniping someone in the head and then seeing the kill cam within seconds of starting the game. One thing I forgot to mention that I just want to point in here real quick is I actually use a gun stock to shoot and play this game. It makes sniping a lot easier when you have a gun stock. It makes aiming a lot easier with an actual gun stock. So the one I'm using is a Pro Tube gun stock. You can check out a video where I compared that against a 3D printed one. I originally liked the 3D printed one from Etsy, but that one ended up breaking, so now I'm using the Pro Tube one. So if you want to check that out, link is down in the description. As I played the game more, I started to notice some jankiness that made the game feel a little less immersive as a VR game and more like a flat screen port than anything else. Which, by the way, it's not a flat screen port. It was built fully for VR, but it lacks some of the smoothness that I come to take for granted in other VR games. For example, when reloading an SMG, you end up carrying the magazines in a really weird way. Like as soon as you pick up a magazine, your hand snaps so that you're carrying it at a different angle from how your hand is actually positioned. As you can see here, I'm grabbing and dropping a magazine without actually moving my hand or changing the angle or position of it. Yet the hand snaps to different angles and it just feels off. Not only that, but everything snaps into place instead of appearing smooth and realistic. Like when you put bullets into the sniper, you just drop them near the chamber and they snap into place. I feel like having some sort of animation or something to smooth this out would really help with the immersion. And it's not just reloading, but all world interactions. You don't actually interact with the world at all. You don't open doors or press buttons on radios or anything. Instead, you just hover your hand over whatever object and then hold the grip button to interact with that object. In my opinion, this is just lazy development. Obviously, it costs more to add these extra interactions. It's just more complicated, and just pressing a button and letting an animation play is overall probably cheaper for the developers. But frankly, that kind of thing ruins VR games for me. Immersion is king, and anything that breaks immersion is really bad in a VR game. Outside of that, sniping just feels great, and the kill cams are so satisfying. I swear, I'm not a psychopath. You also have the option to reduce how many kill cams you see, and you can decide to travel with the bullet or not travel with the bullet if you're prone to motion sickness, which is nice. Speaking of settings, you also have plenty of other settings to make the game comfortable for just about anyone, including smooth and snap turning and teleportation and etc. Another issue, as many have pointed out, is that the game enemies are really dumb, especially compared to other Sniper Elite games. For example, when sneaking around, they very quickly forget that you even exist. As far as gameplay goes, essentially you're either high up sniping out waves of enemies, or you're moving through levels taking out people as you go. In the latter case, you can either sneak around or go in guns a-blazing, and this is where you really start to see how dumb the AI is. Most people have said that they enjoy the stealth part of the game much more than just running around shooting people with SMGs and shotguns, but I feel like the running around and shooting is going to be more realistic and satisfying simply because it's actually believable, just because of how bad the AI is when you're sneaking around. That said, I do personally enjoy sneaking around as well, even though the AI is really dumb. So with my initial thoughts and criticisms out of the way, let's give this game an actual score as we go through the different categories. If you don't know, the story is based around a World War II veteran telling stories about the war in Italy. The game is structured as levels that mostly feel like you're on a rail without actually being on a rail. What I mean is you're told exactly where to go and what to do. Some levels you just shoot waves of enemies, while other levels you have to actually sneak in and you get to be a little bit more creative. All of the levels end abruptly with a mission complete sign, and you're awarded stars based on how well you killed a certain number of people with certain objects, or whatever other objectives they give you. This overall makes the game feel a little bit arcadey, which I don't like. And the actual story, well, frankly, I had a hard time paying attention to the narration. I don't know anything about the person I'm playing as or any of the other characters. Outside of Dante, of course, he's the most important character of all.
Dante, no! No, poor Dante!
When it comes to storytelling, you need to make the listener feel something, and frankly, the only thing I felt after an hour of playing the game was boredom. Yes, the gameplay is fun and sniping is always super satisfying, but the story isn't good enough to keep me engaged in the game for extended periods of time. So overall, for story and lore, I'm just gonna give it 4 baguettes out of 10. Now, I've already talked quite a bit about the mechanics and immersion. The AI sucks, world interactions don't exist beyond pressing a button, and the gun reloading is just okay. The sniping mechanics are fantastic, however, probably some of the best sniping I have ever done in a VR game. And considering this game is Sniper Elite, that's really what we're looking for. As long as the sniping is good, I can't be too mad at the game because that's what the focus is and always has been. One little detail that I felt really added to the immersion was how you selected what mission to play. You have this little book with different pages representing different missions that you can select from and see how well you did. This is much more immersive than just looking at a screen in front of you, and I can really appreciate those little details. And with your kids and grandkids running around playing in the background, I really just love this home screen environment. Overall, for mechanics and immersion, I'm gonna give it 5 out of 10. The overall mechanics are really bad, but the game does sniping really well, and that's literally the name of the game. The game consists of 18 missions that take about 6 to 8 hours to complete, depending on your playstyle and difficulty. For the price, that's a pretty decent amount of game time when compared to other VR games, especially on the Quest. You have incentives to redo missions, to complete specific objectives, or find different items, making it almost feel like an advanced arcade game. Personally, I have no interest in redoing the missions just to get a perfect score or to find each item, but I also didn't find it that difficult to do either of those things on the first try, at least on the normal difficulty. If you're a completionist, which I usually am, you'll spend way more time in the game. I just don't feel motivated to complete every aspect of the game because the story and the payoff for finding each item just aren't there for me. Overall, I will give it 8 out of 10 for length and replayability because it is pretty long for the price. There is incentive to really complete the levels, and it really is at the end of the day a full game. Now, the graphics look pretty awesome, don't get me wrong, there's nothing spectacular about it, it's not Half-Life Alyx, but it looks good and it runs really well on my setup, let alone the fact that you also have it on Quest, and it looks pretty dang good on Quest. I mean, I haven't sat there picking apart the differences between the two versions, but just at first glance, there's not a whole lot lost to the Quest version when compared to other games like Onward or Saints and Sinners that just lose so much in the Quest port. The biggest thing is that art isn't done in a simplistic, stylistic way to cover for the fact that the devs couldn't optimize nicer looking assets. It genuinely looks pretty good, and I can blow off enemy heads without getting distracted by poor visuals. For graphics and art, I'm giving it 8 out of 10 baguettes. Not super exceptional, but it does it well. And then finally, for challenge and fun, the game has 3 difficulties. The highest difficulty introduces wind speed and bullet drop as factors when sniping, which I think could be a lot of fun for really intense gun enthusiasts. I just like sniping things in the head, so I'm happy on the normal difficulty, just shooting things without having to think about that. But it is an option if you want to challenge yourself. Overall, it is a fairly fun game to play for a few minutes, but not for several hours. Again, I'll happily jump on and complete a level just to play something for a few minutes, but it's not something that's begging me to come back to it for hours at a time. This could be because I'm more interested in multiplayer games generally, but even for single player games, I can think of several examples of games that drew me in and made me want to play all of the time. This was not one of them. So for challenge and fun, I'm gonna give it 7 out of 10. It's a fun arcade style game, but not something I'll get absorbed into for hours. But that's just me. I've heard other people playing this game non-stop, hence the slightly higher score. So the final score for Sniper Elite VR is 6.5 crunchy sticks out of 10. Some people are going to really like the game and some people won't. If you want to take your time sniping and stealthing around, this game is probably for you. If you think you'll get bored sniping enemies over and over and over and you are hoping for a great World War II story with lots of different experiences, then this game probably isn't for you. I personally don't regret buying it. It's something I can take my time with and play when I need a quick 10 to 20 minute level to keep me occupied. As long as you understand that the game's biggest strength is sniping, and that's pretty much all it does really well, then you'll enjoy the game. If you're hoping for anything else from a game that literally has sniper in the name, then I don't know what to tell you. Maybe learn how to read? Anyways, that's it for this video. I hope it helped you. If you decided whether or not to get this game based on this review, go ahead and comment down below and let me know what you decided. If you have played this game already, let me know your thoughts and what you agree or disagree with. But anyways, that's it. I'm out.